Transmission, October 19th, 2024, 1700 hours. Is anybody out there? This is the Blue Iron Lion broadcasting from somewhere. After my last transmission, almost a week ago, I was sitting here in no man's land trying to figure out what is the next topic of discussion I would reach out with. Perhaps I could follow up with some sort of life lesson that can be learned from. And then I thought, why not talk about the time that I almost got potentially robbed? And I guess the lesson for this one would be that of situational awareness. So it was on a New Year's Day. Actually, it was a New Year's Day night, right? Everybody had just celebrated and bought in the New Year's the night before. Was it 2021, 2022? I can't remember now, but I was out and about that night scavenging, picking up, dropping off. And of course, as a result, then I eventually needed some fuel, so I pulled up at a gas station. The closest one I could find at the time was in a familiar area that is usually busy, but because it was the night during New Year's Day, everything was empty. It looked like a complete ghost town, right? But this gas station, it still had its lights on, even though it was unmanned. So anyone on the outskirts know it's not like the traditional city where an attendant has to be there at all times. It's closed. The main shop is closed, but the pump is on for your use. So anyway, I go there and I commence to getting some fuel, and I noticed something. So if I could paint a picture, the pumps are closest to the road, and the building that would normally be open, the shop, was in the background. And somebody peeked out from behind the end corner of that shop, like from the shadows. He was dressed in black and just standing there looking at me. And I reasoned, well, it's empty. Nothing else is out here. It must be a homeless guy, right? But he did look kind of young. But then I was so filled with confidence because at the time, I'm this big, strong man and an avid weightlifter. I'm no stranger to the iron, hence the name Blue Iron Lion, right? And plus, I had heat. So the person is staring at me, and I glance over at him, and he looked like I could pick him up and throw him over the car. So I wasn't really, I went, okay, whatever. I wasn't really thinking much about it, right? So turned back and continued to pump my fuel. But when I'm finishing pumping the fuel, I look back over there, and now it's two of them, dressed the same, looking at me, right? So now my spidey sense is starting to tingle just a little bit. I'm like, what's this? They seem to be talking to each other while their eyes are focused on me, though. And now here they come walking in my direction. Nah. So now I'm thinking to myself, what if this is about to be what it looks like, a robbery? Yet then I still wrote that off. Like, look, I don't get robbed. All right. In fact, I haven't been robbed since I was 11 years old and on my way to school. Back then, somebody literally asked me for the time, and when I told them, they relieved me of my watch. Things I can laugh about now, but it's all an experience. But yeah, I'm thinking, ain't no way. This does not happen to me. But sure enough, they're walking towards me. See, my fuel tank is on the left side of my vehicle, so I'm in between the fuel pumps and my vehicle. And they're walking up on the other side. But as they're walking, I start to ready myself and kind of squat down by the front driver's side like I'm looking for something. All the while ready and aware. As I look up, I can see they're still looking at me as our eyes met through the window, but they're doing so in passing, like walking past the passenger side. As they continue to pass, I pop the trunk and make my way to the back, still fronting as though I'm looking for something. I see that they've walked past, and I'm thinking, okay, good. Potential Bozo 1 and Bozo 2, they both see that I see them. They figure I'm on to them, and they're going to just continue walking to play it off themselves. right? Wrong. So I'm in the back, fake rummaging through my trunk, low-key keeping an eye on them. They might be about 15, 20 feet ahead in front of my car. But then they both began to slow down and then stop. Their next action near raised the Pee Wee Herman secret word alarm in my head, because not only did they proceed to hurry back towards my direction, but they both fan out. One's making his way by the left side of my car, the other to the right. I can't believe this is happening. I close down the trunk like, enough of this. And now I come up with the no doubt about it at sea level. SEE. Not pointing at anybody, but in ready to point and click mode. And they both freeze in their tracks. The one on my left was maybe 5-6 feet away, had both his hands in his pockets, his coat pocket, and he had a look on his face like he could care less about what I had in my hand. And then the one on my right was a bit further in proximity, and now we're all just looking at each other. Thinking back, it reminded me of that scene out that movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where the three guys are having a showdown and the camera's focusing on all of their eyes for like a period of time before the shooting starts. That's what the tension was like for me. And I have to say, the reality of the potential situation was that I was outnumbered. I don't know who has what. I'm thinking more the guy on my left, but I'm not sure. I'm thinking I don't even have any real cover to get to. You know, the back of my car would be some sort of concealment, but they're too close for that. All sorts of things are running through my mind. But I also know that I knew I could not just stay in the position I was in. So I just pull an F it moment and I start to, while still in ready mode, make my way up to the guy on the right. Because I heard him mumble something, but I couldn't really make out what it was. So I used this opportunity to front as though I wanted to know what he was asking. So when I got closer, I'm still feigning ignorance, like, what can I help you guys with? And the guy, he mumbles it again, but this time I can make out what he was saying. He said he just wanted to know if I had a Black and Mild, which is like a type of cigar. I responded I did not. We all look at each other again, and then they walk off back to their dark corner. I jump in my vehicle with my eyes on them, hoping that one of them don't double back and let off on me. And then I get away from there. But then I didn't feel comfortable just leaving, because I said, what about the next victim that potentially pulls up there? So I made the right call to the authorities in that area. And I told them, hey, look, there's two suspicious guys. I think I may have been potentially almost robbed, but nothing happened. I mean, just be on the lookout. And I think by the time I drove off, they may have left anyway. But that could have ended worse. And one might say, well, how do you even know they just didn't want to smoke? You know, there's a time and place, right? This is what I talk about, situational awareness. As far as their intentions, if you're out at night where everything is desolate and two guys are literally hiding in an area where it is absolutely deserted, and then they approach you all wearing black in the middle of the night with a certain intensity, okay, then double back with no words and fan out on you, it's a safer bet to assume that they were thinking about something other than asking for a light. It is only because I was prepared that no one got hurt. And if I had to go, okay, I was ready to take somebody with me, if not both of them, which is the main reason I got closer to one of them. Like, not going to lie, not going to pretend I wasn't nervous about the ordeal, particularly because there were two of them. But I had to turn that fear into music to my ears. In fact, that would have been my latest hit album cover, Murked by Me. I mean, jokes aside, nobody got hurt, so I guess I did it right. So, if there was a lesson to be learned from this comedy other than situational awareness, I would suggest not even stopping to get gas in a desolate area in the middle of the night because of potentials for things like these. I had enough fuel to go somewhere more safer, or maybe jumping in the car and leaving once it appeared I was being cased. And would you know, I looked up the search engine to see if there was a case similar to what I went through, And sure enough, I found that there was a man in his 40s that was approached by two younger men also, and that wanted to carjack him for his Mercedes. And I don't know what fully transpired in that situation, but they end up taking both his life and the car. Of course, I think one of them got caught the last time I checked, and I was like, wow, okay. So, this stuff is out there. It's happening. You have to stay aware. Stay aware for anybody out there that cares to listen. End transmission.